Hi everyone. Welcome. I am I am Rebecca from Chemnitz, and I'm here today to do a fun little dyeing project. Last week or a couple weeks ago during the Softling Special 2, I bought a new pan. It is this big rectangular pan that's what you would use on, say, like at a catered event, on it's like a steam pan that normally you would put water in it and then you'd put other dishes in to keep them hot when you're having a buffet. Sometimes I've seen them steam table pans, sometimes chafer pans. Anyway, it's a big pan and it can hold a lot of yarn. So today I want to try using it on my stovetop with 2 burners at a time, so that way we can see if we can do some low immersion dyeing with the yarn, on the stovetop and see how that goes. So that is the basic plan today. Welcome everyone. It's good to see you. And also, tonight, the Knit Picks Get Lucky sale ends tonight. So right now, everything at Knit Picks is 15% off. If you use the code, I think that, and of course now yes, you use the code Lucky Day at checkout. If you use that code, then you get 15% off your whole purchase, and that coupon stacks with the bulk yarn discount, the sock yarn sale, where skeins of sock yarn are up to 40% off. So that it works on all of that. Unfortunately, when I last looked, Stroll Fingering and some of the other yarns, Swish and some of the other bare yarns that were waiting to come back in stock are not yet in stock. So even though some of those yarns are on sale, technically they aren't available and you can't pre-order that. But there's a lot of good stuff on sale. So welcome everybody. I'm so glad you could join me. A link to the pan that I'm using is in the video description. I got it off of Amazon, and it did arrive dented, but it worked when I used it in the Softling Special, so that was good. But yeah, so tonight I'm going to be using 3 skeins of Stroll Fingering weight yarn. But if you want to pick up some yarn on the sale, and since Stroll isn't there, there is Stroll Glimmer, which has some stellina and dyes very, very similarly to just the non-sparkly Stroll. But the Felicia yarn also has the same fiber content as Stroll, and so it dyes really, really similarly. So that is a good alternative if you want to pick some up at a good discount. But anyway, I think that we should start mixing up some dyes. And so I'll pop back down to see comments. I can't really see them very well when I'm up at the stove, but I will do my best. All right, and all right. So my mood today is to try. I'm in sort of like a recreation kind of mood lately. My mood today is to sort of emulate a colorway that I did in the past. It was a live stream for I Love Yarn Day, and I did this colorway that had 3 Wilton's icing colors. I used violet, I used royal blue, and I used black, assuming that this is the correct black. Yes, this is the red number 40 black. I have both red number 40 and the old formulation, red number 3 black, so I have to check, or else I might pick the one that won't do quite what I want it to do. So my plan is to mix up some concentrated solutions of these colors. We're going to heat up the yarn in the pan. It's pre-soaking in just plain water right now. And then we will try to distribute part of the dye on one side in a low immersion technique. Once it absorbs, we'll flip the yarn, add dye to the other side, and yeah, that's my plan. So yeah, this colorway was very, very popular. It was 2 people actually wanted to claim it on the Kickstarter. There was a you pick section, and actually I sort of wanted to claim it for myself too. So in that video, which was the I Love Yarn Day love live stream. Okay, that's cutting it a little close. I should probably use different cups. All right, these aren't going to be as pretty, but I can fit more volume in these ones. I'm adding a cup of water to each of these cups so far. In the I Love Yarn Day live stream, I added a half teaspoon to a half cup of water, and then I hand painted 2 skeins of yarn with that. So today, I'm going to see if I can make the colors a little more intense. I'm going to add a teaspoon of dye to a cup of water. But since we have 3 skeins of yarn and not 4, the color should overall be, there should be more dye for each skein overall. So I am excited. All right. And I didn't quite think this through. Let's move the computer so I can get some knives. It's like the sometimes I go, all right. And yes, feel free to, oh, too bad you can't, oh, I guess you can't really see the top in here anyway. Okay, but I have 3 1 tablespoon spoons. And I believe that these won't necessarily fit. Oh, this one did. Huh. Okay, so the royal blue fit just fine. Didn't need a knife for that one. All right. These next 2 probably will not fit though. Oh dear. So everything I'm using today is food safe, food grade, but I am wearing gloves because otherwise I will make a total, yeah, see that doesn't fit. So I'm gonna use a knife. I wear gloves because if I didn't, then my hands would change color. And I'm probably gonna need to open a second vial of the black because, I'm just using the knife to, it's sort of like a little spatula. But yeah, I don't quite have enough, but I have some more. So bear with me. I'm gonna save this vial for, I'll do something with a bunch of these half empty ones. Let's see if I wash my hands while I'm wearing gloves. Then of course I need a paper towel. Then of course you guys can't see me running around like a chemist who needs more dye. All right, do I have more black in that one? No, it's over here. I recently organized all of my icing colors. Goodness, I guess I only have 4 more unopened vials of the black icing color. I think that'll be fine. There we go. Oh, this one's nicer. I think the last vial was pretty old. This one, the dye is a lot smoother. It was a lot clumpier on the old one. Get a little more. Just a hair. All right. That's about a teaspoon of the black. Now we just have to do the violet, which I think I have like 10 vials of violet. So if I don't have a whole teaspoon here, things will be fine. But hopefully I don't get food coloring all over my stove. I mean, I usually have food coloring all over my stove. I haven't tried with this knife technique. But okay, that is a teaspoon of the violet. Now, ideally I would, sorry, as I'm losing my train of thought. What on earth was I going to say? The amount of dye. Wow, I totally lost my train of thought entirely. Oh, ideally, I wish that I had some food safe squeeze bottles. I'm not quite ready to convert this pan into a non-food dye pan. So that's why, oh, I don't even know if you guys can see me stirring. Um, Sorry, this is the riveting part of the television. But ideally I would have had squeeze bottles so that way I could sort of, when it's in the pan, slowly add the dye. But I saw a suggestion online to try using a spoon. And so that's what I'm going to try today. And, all right. Rinsing off my gloves, and I'm going to come down and chat. I don't think it's, so I chose the side of my stove that has two burners that are about the same size. Let me see if I can pick this up to show you. So see, those two burners are approximately the same size. On the side that I almost knocked over, on this side of the stove, the front is a lot larger than the back. So that would be harder. Yeah, that would be harder for me to sort of try to keep the temperature even throughout the whole pan. Yay, I'm glad you're catching me live. Do you think that the Jacquard dyes are more color fast than the Wiltons? So I mostly hand wash my knits and my yarns, and so I've only put things that I've dyed with food coloring through the washing machine a few times, but I've had really good luck with the colors, obviously superwash things. I've had really good luck with the colors sticking around. My favorite winter hat, which I showed in one of my last live streams, I dyed with Kool-Aid and food coloring, and I still have some of that yarn left, and the color is just as vibrant as it was, at least 7 years ago. So the color stays really long. Now, if you're making a pair of socks that you're going to wear once a week and wash once a week, I don't know. I can't really speak to that. Both acid dyes and food coloring bind in the same way. They're all acid dyes. I have a sense that the commercial dyes that are intended to dye yarn and fiber, those are probably a tad bit more color fast if I was going to do like an extreme wash test. But that's just a gut feeling, and I don't know for sure. Did I go to school for chemistry? Yeah. I have a PhD in biochemistry and molecular pharmacology, but I did much more of the biochemistry side of things. So I studied how some bacterial enzymes made different kinds of bonds, and it was a lot of fun. So that's a bit about me. Yay! Yay for yarn! Yay for more dyeing! Oh, it's my pleasure to do the tip-off. I am a stash enabler. And also I know that, sometimes a lot of people will save up for their dyeing adventures, and, a huge blanket sale at Knit Picks, it doesn't happen often enough. But I have now placed 3 orders this week, and on the 21st, when Stroll, Swish, and Will of the Andes come back in stock, I'll probably place another order. And so, yeah. But, yeah, I'm glad. I love it when you guys start dyeing along at home. It makes me really, really happy. But while you guys are watching, if you like what you see and you feel like contributing to my materials fund, there is a little $ at the bottom of the chat, and that does super chats, which is a way that you can, without leaving YouTube, you guys can leave sort of a tip or so. And you also get a message that has like a bright box around it, and it can stay up for longer than a normal message. So that's just one way that you can support me. And I'm working on some other ways for people to support me, and maybe there are announcements coming soon. We'll see. But let's go see how these dyes are dissolving, and I'm going to start setting up the pan. If I miss any questions, feel free to re-ask when I sit down. My mouse, whoops, my mouse isn't working very well. Let me silence my phone. All right, my mouse isn't working very well, so sometimes I have trouble scrolling. But, okay, so I know I want the volume of water to be really, really, really low. And I can use some of this water from the pre-soak. And I think that that is what I'm going to do. So I'm actually going to add, like looking, of course my paper towels are on the other side of the island. I think I'm going to add some acid to the pre-soak, sort of mix it up, and then start adding the yarn and water to the pan and turning on the heat. And I think that, yeah. So I'm going to add, you can see that there's a reasonable amount of yarn in here, but I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of white vinegar. This is fairly high for the pre-soak. Normally I might add 2. Whoops, I'll do generous. 2, 3. I'll mix this up. Sometimes people ask me why I add the acid to the yarn versus adding the acid to the dye. And I prefer to add it to the yarn or to the dye bath because sometimes, especially with the red number 3s and Wilton's violet and stuff, some of the colors can crash out, which means that they're no longer soluble and you get these little particulates that you can see all over the place. So that's why I prefer to let the food coloring come in contact with the acid as late in the process as possible. All right, and I've pre-soaked these for, oh goodness, maybe a couple hours or so. And so I'm really, really bad about adding more ties to yarn. But I am going to try, when I'm doing this, to have one set of ties at the end furthest from me. And this is the set of the ties that does not have the ends of the yarn attached. So, all right, I'm sort of wringing out the yarn just so that way I don't make a mess. So I've got one tie towards the back and sort of adding in the yarn. And I'm going to do the same with the other 2. Because at some point, we are going to want to flip these skeins. Because, you know, we're going to want to get color on both sides. And even though I'm going to try to spread out the fibers as much as possible, I still expect that there'll be some white on the bottom side because the colors will strike really, really fast. So that is why I want to just have an easy place to grab them with tongs so that way I can try to flip it over. But I haven't done this before, so I'm going off of theory. But sometimes that's the way the best stuff happens around here. But again, I probably should have added some more ties. Yeah, I probably should have added some more ties. I tend to be really, really bad about that. But, all right. Now, obviously, this has next to no water in it. So we need more water than this. So I am going to add some back in. And I'm probably going to have more water in here. I'm going to probably want to add some more. That doesn't seem like very much at all. So again, this water had 3 tablespoons of vinegar in it. This was the water that I used to pre-soak the yarns. Okay, so you can see that I probably could have had some less water in here. I could always remove some. And in fact, maybe that is what I would do once things are heating up. But as I heat it up, things will also decrease. So let's turn on the heat and cross our fingers. Okay, so right now I have the heat on high. And I'm probably going to want, where is my, aha. Okay, so if you want to see a little blast from the past, here's an old felted oven mitt that I made for Keith as a office reference joke. But I think I might pull out some of my sturdier mitts just to have on hand because I need to. Because I have a feeling I'm going to need to sort of like shimmy things. Ooh, that's already feeling warm. shimmy things around, excuse me, so that way, otherwise we'd probably get hot pockets of heat in the center. So the worst thing that'll happen today, there's two bad things that could happen. Actually, I'll come back so you can see me. Okay, so there's two things that could go wrong. One, the pan could like break, and so then it could crack, and then we could end up with water everywhere. Or the water level could get too low and I could burn the yarn. So those are sort of like the two things that could go wrong, but I think that we should be fine. But yay for a lot of wool, and yeah, Jose has some silkworms that he's gonna hatch, and it's gonna be. Ooh, I hear something bubbling up there. Shark curtain hooks do wonders for low immersion. I need to get some. I guess I would probably want metal ones, huh, for using in stuff like this. Yeah, the heat will definitely steam some water away. I was meaning to get some plastic ones, plastic shower curtain hooks to help me out, but yeah, I've done low immersion dyeing in like a pot, but I was never able to spread the yarn out like this. So I think that the results that we're going to get today will be a lot more like when we do hand painting. So I'm really excited, but okay, I better go check on this because. Hey, that was fast. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat down, and okay, that's warm. So how long did that take that to heat up? Like a minute? Okay, hopefully that noise isn't too annoying. Yeah, okay, we've got a cool pocket over there. Okay, we do have some cool pockets. So I am going to sort of shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely hot pockets and colder pockets. Okay. So I've got the heat on lower, and I'll shake it some more in a minute, but that's feeling pretty good. My knives are basically dye free, and let's see how these spoons are doing. Pretty good, actually. Of course, I'm not wearing gloves. But actually, I think that this is pretty good. So I'm not sure if I'll end up even using 100% of the dye that I've mixed. But, oh good, not too annoying? That's great. So, the nice thing about this, whoa. You guys hear that? That's kind of cool. The nice thing about this whole setup, it's still cold there. Yeah. I'm not sure how to distribute the heat better, but I guess just shaking it every so often. This would be a really good setup for doing some speckling with some powder. So it would be really, really nice. But should probably have like a thermometer. Actually, that's really not. The water level is really low. I'm actually going to add a little more liquid. That has gone really, really low, which I know we want low, but it's so low that I'm having trouble distributing whatever heat we've got. There we go. Okay, we're starting to feel more warm overall, so that's good. Oh no. What did I do? Let me see if I can. It like shifted the. I want to move the. I'll bring myself back down as I'm messing with the camera. Hello, I'm really small. Because for the corner, the camera wasn't like that before. No. All right. That is a tiny bit better. All right. You ready for this? I should grab. Said I wanted to use a spoon. Put my gloves back on. All right. I tried. So someone once commented that I seem to struggle a bit when I'm taking my gloves off. And it's not so much that I'm struggling. I'm struggling to take them off right side out. Oh, you just spun a light apricot colored yarn. You want to dye with speckles. Should you wash the yarn and set the twist first? I think that you can skip that because you can skip setting the twist because the fibers should relax pretty well just from it being wet. But it depends on how over twisted it is. Okay, let's do this. You guys ready? Okay. What color was this one? My black. So if I had a squeeze bottle, I think that this would be a bit easier. Whoa, you could speckle with this as well. Okay. Yeah, so with this spoon sort of technique that I'm doing right now, I don't have the best control. But I'm sort of attempting, hopefully I'll have some color left for the underside. So I have a feeling that this is going to just strike really, really fast. Look at those specks. All right, that's probably about half. And, all right. Now this is where it's going to be cool, I think. Yeah, because if I was just going to pour it just straight, then I wouldn't get as much coverage. This is where like the squirt bottle would come in handy because I would be able to have a better hand on it. Haha. But the purple is so pretty. It's very blurple feeling. Okay, now even though, okay, I'm going to use this to sort of, and we're definitely going to have some breaking over here. It's to sort of help things along. That was the purple spoon. Yeah, you can see even from just when I push it in that we have had a lot of color strike already. And there's breaking, absolutely breaking in the black area as well. And here is our blue. I love royal blue. It has like just a tiny bit of red in it. So it's just really pretty. But yeah, squirt bottles are nice. I'm gonna order some like ones to save for food coloring. But hopefully I'm not blocking you guys too much with the cup. but this is cool looking. Okay, I'm gonna need a blue spoon, sort of poke. But yeah, you can see the way that the royal blue breaks because that red in it just hits the yarn so, so fast. Yeah, we still got color. Color there. All right, we've got color everywhere. I'm curious. Yeah. I'm curious about how the color penetration will be because we can always add more on the top. But right now, whoa, that just looks like a really dark mess. Oh goodness. How about using some ladles like the kind of salad bar? Yeah, that would be great. You can get Wilton squeeze bottles on Amazon, a 2-pack for $2. I wonder how big. So I have some tiny, tiny squeeze bottles. I'm taking a picture of this because what you guys see is not doing justice. And that, it's funny because it has the contrast. Of course, the color on my little camera is really bad. Oh, no, I don't have enough space on my phone to show you guys. But yes, I think little salad bar type ladles would work really nicely. Oh, I didn't set a timer. Let's check on this in 5 minutes. Okay, yes, the little salad bar ladles would work great, and I missed some in the chat. Usually I have to rotate it to distribute the heat. Yeah, I'll probably need to shake it a bit more. Because the way that it's sitting on there, the burners are, I don't think rotating it like 180 degrees would help too much because the burners are in about the same place on either side. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. The bottles, the Wilton bottles are 4 ounces. Interesting. I've been debating between whether or not I found a 6-pack of 8 ounce or a 7-pack of 16 ounce for $10 or $11 on Amazon, and so that is what I am considering getting. Oh, so you get the Wilton's bottles. Theoretically, they're for candy melts, but they're fabulous for dye and pretty inexpensive. Oh, that's great. That's a nice recommendation. It's funny how dark it looks through the stream. Oh man, it's so dark. I am really excited about this. I know I set a timer, but I have to go peek at it some more. So, for reference, I don't see black right here. I see the like deep maroon. Okay, we can cheat a bit. Oh yeah, look at that white on the bottom side. We're definitely going to need to flip this. And sometimes I'm a purist and I don't want to move. Oh yeah, look at all that white. Sometimes I'm a purist and I don't want to move things around too much. Maybe when I flip it and add more dye, as I'm doing it, I should like shimmy it to sort of help things absorb. But yeah. This is still really, really cool. But yeah, definitely not enough color for that to be a true black type quite yet. But I am gonna shake this, I think. Because there's definitely not even heat distribution, but a lot of the color, I'm sort of trusting that this isn't going to move things around too much, but hopefully will help some heat transfer. hopefully, you can buy lids for these things as well. So you could have a lid on, or you could even probably just use some foil to keep sort of the steam in there. How about pressing down gently with a potato masher? Yeah, or a slotted spoon. But I think, I don't know, I'm partial to my tongs. But this is why I really could use, okay, I think it would be better if I were to use a squeeze bottle and then the tongs or something to manipulate the fiber in the region as I'm adding the dye. Because then it wouldn't strike quite so fast. Yeah, no, the purple and the blue are a bit brighter. Let me see if you can see. Because my hand looks reasonable, but I'm showing up a lot darker, I think, on camera than what I see. So, but I'm so excited. This is such a fun colorway. Oh, you're watching on TV? Yeah, so different screens will look really different. I mean, I struggle with getting my webcam to get the colors the way that it sort of looks to me. Let's see if I can do anything to help it. Where is my... Oh, that's a bit better. Some things might look a little blown out, but that's because I think it's... Where's my hand? That's actually a bit better. That's a fair amount better. Aha, that's 5 minutes. Okay, let's come up and check on it. But yeah, since I'm doing the spoon to try to go slow, because I knew if I was just going to pour, it would sort of finish up really, really, really fast. But I'm thinking a lot of the color. Oh yeah. So there's some blue. There's some blue left. And I'm just going to need to be content with some of that ending up everywhere. But maybe I should go ahead and I think I'm going to add a tiny bit more vinegar. And this is why. And then I'll fix the camera since I poked it. I'm adding a tiny bit more vinegar. Okay, I just added another 2 tablespoons of vinegar. And part of the reason why I did that is I know that the blues in the black section require more vinegar to bind. And so, I mean, things are striking super fast anyway, so a lot more vinegar isn't going to hurt me too much. But, all right, let's see. Yeah, it's really much brighter now. Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad it still looks good on the TV. Okay, so I think I'm going to try to flip these. And the way that I'm going to end up flipping them is going to be sort of over this way, I think. Because I think that, okay, this does not go quite as well as I had hoped. But there we go. But, what strand? Actually, this is better, a little better than I thought. So the color penetration, I mean, there's obviously a lot of space for color here on the back, but it's not quite as bad. Where's the purple? It's not quite as bad as I had expected. But you see how there's still that blue, some blue that's hanging, oh dear, hanging out in there. Okay. All right, so are these 3 colorways going to be identical? No. Do I need to work on my flipping techniques? Yes. But are they going to be gorgeous? Yes. All right, which color? The problem is that the colors in here are all so dark that it's hard. Of course, I'm not wearing gloves right now to tell which color is which. but let's do some black. And I mean, I could use, there we go, the spoon that I'm using. See, I didn't really want to get acid back in my cup, but at this stage, since I am going to be adding the rest of the dye that I mixed, I don't care as much. But sort of, and now if I was doing 100% wool, I would want to be a lot more careful with this agitation that I'm doing. But I think that hopefully we should be pretty good. And there'll still be breaking of all kinds in there. Okay, what color is this one? Purple. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do this without blocking you guys too much. And I'm not necessarily succeeding. Sorry about that. I wish that I could have a camera up here so that way this could fill the screen. Okay, I don't know if I'm streaming in the same spot. So if you guys can hear me. Okay, can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me now? Woohoo! Okay, I'm back. Good. I restarted the program. It's nice to know that that came back. Okay. And I didn't spill the dye. All right. I don't remember where I was. Oh, I think on the other one I had just decided to do a little bit of pouring and then sort of like a little shimmy. So before I was hesitant to have my spoon kind of go back in and out of the container because with the red number 3s, I didn't want to like cause problems. But I decided, oh, that was about the rest of it. I decided that we should try this because in the first round, I didn't want to run out of dye and then have none for the back. Okay. Which color is this one? More black. Okay. Of course, this isn't like the best control because since I've done this, there's some globbies in there. I don't want to pour the globbies on. This isn't the best control because I didn't do this on the other side. So, but hopefully, okay, we're definitely still going to have some pale sections. But hopefully that by like moving this around, maybe I shouldn't have added that more vinegar. That's just making things strike really fast. But these, oh my gosh, look at how pale. Yeah. Because yeah, stuff just is not getting access. But whatever, this is going to be gorgeous. We're just learning. And so I found that acid dyes still strike pretty quickly, but not quite like the food coloring. And can I just say, Keith, I think it's hilarious that you're listening from the next room, but not listening to me live. You're listening through your headphones. Okay. Whoa. That was the yarn popping. Where? Okay, here are my gloves. That's because the heat got trapped. Okay. All right. How are we doing? I don't think you guys missed much of like technique-wise what I was doing, but I love putting the blobs in because they broke around the other yarn strands and intensify the color. Oh, cool. You love your turkey baster. Yeah, I have a turkey baster like syringe. If I had a bulb one, that would have helped for this. But I think I'm gonna get some squeeze bottles, and then yeah, I mean this pan is quickly going to become a non-food safe pan, but you use a fire hose instead of a baster for these colors. You guys are awesome. Thank you for sticking with me through the technical difficulties. I really, really appreciate it. And yes, I did turn the timer on, but I have no idea how long I was struggling. I just came down and things, it was weird. The webcam just froze, and I'm also using the webcam as my mic, and so oh man, so when it froze, that was just not good. Oh, I'm glad that I can help after a long and stressful day. That's great. But as we're waiting, have you guys all checked out the Knit Pick sale? So this always happens to me. Knit Picks has a really big sale right after I place a large order. And so, and sometimes like I hold off until I need it because what if things go on sale? But a 15% off sale is really, really good. And I'm bummed, although who knows, maybe things went in stock like while I've been here, but I'm bummed that some of the yarns haven't come in stock yet because I've really been waiting for Stroll and some things. So, but here is, I'm going to drop the link into the chat. Yeah, so if you enter the code Lucky Day at checkout, you get 15% off your whole order, and it stacks. And it's a good time if you wanted to try out a yarn base, but weren't sure about committing to the 20 pack. This, the 20 packs give you 15% off as well. So I used this sale last fall to stock up on a lot of different skeins of yarn. But also with the sock yarn sale, a lot of the fingering weight yarns are already cheaper. So Capra was 40% off, Capretta 20, and then you could get an additional 15. So I think that's awesome. So, but yes, and so I'm a bit of an enabler. Okay, 30 seconds. I may want to turn down the heat a little bit. And before this beeps, I'm going to go and peek. Yes, the sale is very handy for acid dyes. Okay. If the chat's ahead of your video, sort of hover over the bar and see if you see a little red dot next to live, where it says live. And if you see a little red dot there, then you're up to date. If it's gray, you're watching sort of like on like DVR kind of stuff. But there is a delay between what's real happening in my house and what goes on in the chat. So when I put something in the chat, there will be a delay between I say something and what's in the chat. Any plans for these beauties? Not yet. I guess it all depends. The plans could include a lot of things. That's a lot of, we got some, I'm going to move you side to side. We got some color in there. You probably have the least amount of heat around the black. Yeah, we've got some blues. At some point I can turn the heat off and let things sit, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's put the spoon there for a minute. Sort of remove it. It's warm. Yeah, but see the purples and the blue, I think there's always just a lot more food coloring in black than there are in the other colors. So I wonder, maybe I should do this. Maybe let's turn up the heat for a minute and stand back. Trying to make sure to get some heat into this black zone. I'm going to give it, turn the heat back down a bit, but I'm going to give this another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to add some more vinegar over the center. Whew. I'm bad about being able to knit with my yarns myself. I'm currently working on a project with some more of the yarn that Lucas dyed, but that's much more random, so you wouldn't really see the micro striping. So with a lot of the dip dyed yarns, people have shared projects with me, and it does end up looking like a striped yarn, because on a hat you end up with this sort of like, it pulls in like a spiral, and it looks pretty cool. So yeah, you can never have too much yarn or dye. I mean, I feel like I have a lot of dye right now, but I'm always willing to try more, and so that's why when you guys shop and do super chats and stuff, that all helps me get more variety, and so then I can do more things. What is my softest yarn? Ooh, I really like Andean Treasure. I love alpaca yarns. I've only dyed, I think I dyed some Andean Treasure in the Sock Length special, and that was the first time I dyed it. I think I did a spray paint colorway with the Color Mist sprays. I also really do enjoy Stroll a lot. I find it really soft. And the Swish line is one I enjoy a lot. The Swish is Superwash Merino, and I enjoy that one. I made a sweater for myself out of that. So yeah, I think that I'm going to start using Swish DK a lot more. I have dreams of making designing a fade cardigan kind of thing for myself at some point. But so a lot of people got my yarns from the Kickstarter campaign I did last fall. And I've been collecting pictures as people submit the things that they made out of the yarn, which obviously this collection is something that'll take a while. But once I have like a reasonable number, then I'm going to make a slideshow because people give me permission to use their photos. And yeah, if you're a Kickstarter backer, the links to where you can submit pictures are in some of the Kickstarter only updates. So you can see that there. Would this technique work with acid dyes as well? Absolutely. Absolutely. I found, now I still feel kind of like a baby deer, a little wobbly when I'm using acid dyes because I don't really have a good sense of how much to use for the yarn to get the colors and I don't have a good sense. Like I know with food colorings that, the black is way more potent than say violet in terms of like the intensity and the depth of color. And so that there's a lot more food coloring in the black and it takes longer. So I have like this good feel for these colors. So I have a good, I don't know, just, let's turn that down. I have a good feeling for how they work. Whereas with acid dyes, I'm still figuring out what's more concentrated, what's not, what I need for mixing, to have proportions of colors. And so I'm still figuring all that out. And I know that, like I bought sky blue as a primary blue because I liked the color on the swatch, but it wasn't intense enough. So I think I want to try a more intense blue next time because I think that the sky blue, while pretty, it was more sky than the picture let me feel. So yes, I'm sorry. I am an enabler, and not just. I think even if I weren't an affiliate, I would still be trying to share all this with you guys. I have been dyeing Knit Picks yarns since not quite the beginning. I started off with Lion Brand Woolies because I had a lot of that in my stash. But I've been dyeing it otherwise. Soon after that, the first 100% wool I got was Knit Picks. And I now forget what year it was that I dyed that yarn, but I've been using their yarns for years and years and years, and I hope to continue using them for years and years and years in the future. If my stroll comes back in stock. I haven't called them in like a week. I called before they updated the date to the restock date to the 21st, and I was like, so any updates? My friends want to know. Because I know some other people are waiting for some of these as well. Okay. Let's go see. Woo. See how we're doing. Yeah, so this color that's here is a lot of blue. And if you remember, in my low immersion dyeing with the black, that also took a long, long time. And part of that is I think at some point there is a limit to how much dye, to how much a certain area can absorb. Okay, but that's definitely warm. So I am going to add, so currently I have about 5 tablespoons of vinegar in here. I am going to add one more over the black section. So I believe that's a total of 6. And this is a lot more than I normally use. But I'm hoping to get a bit more color in here. Because if we check over in the blue, see that's basically cleared, yeah. And even here with the violet, that is pretty good. It's just this black section. So all things considered, these colors are staying pretty separate. Blech. the colors have remained separate. But I do wonder if the fact that this black, so the black has kind of been not over a burner. The salt is in the picture. It's not been used. It's just next to my stovetop. I did kick the camera at one point. Okay. So I am now actually going to turn off the heat. Because at some point, you can just leave your yarn. You can leave your yarn to cool for a period of time. And the colors will still absorb as it's cooling because there's still heat there and it'll still sort of bind. Tonight I'm using the Stroll fingering weight yarn. I debated between using a couple different sock yarn lines, but I figured since it was my first time doing 3 at a time in something like this, and oh, actually I can move my face up here and I can make myself a bit bigger. Okay. Since this is my first time using this pan in this way to do this low immersion technique, I wanted to use the same yarn because if I did 2 different yarn pieces, one might absorb color faster than the other, and that could affect the way things sort of feel. So that's why I picked that. Oh, no worries. I like questions. With Wilton food colors, is there such thing as adding too much? Yeah, probably. There's probably absolutely too much, and sometimes there's a point where maybe not all the color will absorb. And so, I think that, so I just set a timer for 10 minutes, and I think that in many circumstances, I would just let this cool overnight and then wash it in the morning. I've now turned off the heat, and by morning, there might still be some blue left, but a lot of the color might have absorbed. But since you guys are watching, I don't know, maybe I will, in 10 minutes, pull it out so you can see. But there's nothing wrong with just letting it sit for a while. But if I was using, say, like if I was using some other colors and I wasn't using the black, then we probably would have been able to remove this already. Because basically all of the color from the royal blue and the violet has absorbed. Yes, if there's too much, the dyes will wash out or it won't even bind all the way. And so that's sort of how you know. But yeah, no, I didn't add any salt. I was looking at the comment again. And yeah, you can see it in the picture. Actually, I might be able to get my tripod on that counter so then I could have it sort of on the side to look at the pan, maybe. Well, so I guess think about when you have really, really dark jeans. Those tend to bleed when you wash them. So it is possible to have a really dark color without bleeding, but you could also have a really dark color and get a tiny bit of a bleeding without the color changing too much. So it's just something to keep in mind. So some people use salt with their dyeing. I've heard that it can slow the absorption of color. I think with cotton yarns, you often use salt to help things. Yeah, I don't really have a good answer there, but I haven't played around with it yet. So, but oh, I'm excited for these colors. Except I know that it would not be smart for me to stick my hands in there. It's really tempting. Oh, good night. Thank you for joining. Yeah, so if you're doing speckling or something, I wouldn't use necessarily this much color to start off, but you could do, take powders and sprinkle some powders on top, or you could sprinkle some Kool-Aid across the top for some speckles, or even take something that might splatter. If you put some dye in a plastic fork and sort of tap it over, you might get some splatter of the dye on top of the yarn, and so that's some ways that you could get some really cool specks. Yeah, so maybe maybe using salt would, if it would reduce the speed, then maybe you would get less. If this is all my ifs, if salt slows it down, then it could help with braking because if it slows things down, then it can make it more even. But that's something that is on my list of things to play with. I have a rather long list of ideas for the videos coming up. So sometimes I frequently try to do things for the first time in, say, a Dive Hot Weekly episode. But sometimes if I think it could take a while, and then it gives, especially something like this where it's like, okay, we sit down and then we have time to chat during the waiting periods. So I know that at one point, someone in the Chemnitz Lab group on Facebook did a really cool, I think she added like 5 or 6 yards at a time to make a self-striping yarn, but doing only 2 strands at a time. So like really like, a slower thing. And that's something that I think that I would do in a live stream because it would be a really, really long pre-filmed video, but would be a sort of fun live stream to like every so often just add more yarn and stuff. If you rinse and rinse and rinse until the water runs clear, can the yarn still bleed? It can sometimes. Especially if you put it in warm water, you could see some bleeding. Sometimes I get the water to run clear and then I have maybe like a colored drop or two in the bathtub. But if the color runs clear, then I find if there's bleeding after that, it doesn't usually affect the color. Sometimes like and when I'm talking about color dripping, it's like minimal color dripping. But if you do wash acid dyes in hot water, you will see some bleeding. That's just the nature, like the heat will disrupt the interaction between the dye molecule and the protein fibers. So it's why I recommend washing hand-dyed yarns on cold. Fiber reactive dyes will bind in a way that is stronger. They'll actually form a covalent bond, which means that the molecule, the dye molecule and the protein become one molecule versus being 2 molecules that are sort of like kind of really, really attracted to each other, but then could still be separated. So it would be really, really hard to get a fiber reactive dye to come off. And that's why, so that's why fiber reactive dyes you could still wash in hotter water. So yeah. You can mix powder dyes with salt shakers and mostly salt and shake over the yarn to produce speckles. Yes, that's a good way to dilute your powders. So that way when it comes out, you don't get too much dye in one spot. But you could do it with sugar or something too. If you're worried, not that I necessarily would want to add extra sugar to the yarn, but if salt does affect the absorption rate and you don't want it to, then you could use something else. If you had the water clear and it drips some color, it could. What probably is, it's like, the water runs clear, but then there's like a hair bit more. But very rarely have I, like if I've blocked a project that I've dyed, I don't see a lot of bleeding while I'm doing that. Does Dharma have you added a small amount of salt with acid dyes or with their fiber reactive dyes? So if you're having trouble with a lot of bleeding, adding vinegar definitely can help. You could also try like zapping your yarn in the microwave with a little bit of vinegar if you're getting a lot of bleeding. But I've had commercial yarns that I forget the brand. It was this really cool pink and gold sort of colorway, and I soaked it and the water turned red. So if the water is turning red, a lot of dye is coming out, and the yarn was pink to begin with. So a lot of the pink sort of just went away, and that was a real disappointment because that wasn't like an indie dyed yarn. That was a commercially produced yarn. So that was sad. Oh, cool. You use salt with acid dyes to get more solid color when dyeing tonals. All right, so then salt must slow the absorption. So if we used salt, then maybe we would get more colors in here. That would be cool. I'll need to play with this. But yeah, a lot of times, Suzanne, thank you so much for the super go. Yeah, so that really happy orange box that made me exclaim and give a shout out, that was a super chat. And so the little dollar sign at the bottom is a way that you can contribute to the Chemnitz Yarn Fund. Thank you so much for the support. Yeah, I would have to look at the manufacturer instructions to see how much salt's recommended. It's considered a leveling agent in acid dyeing. Interesting, cool. And so leveling agent would be something that gets that makes the colors more even. Now, personally, since I'm a big fan of breaking, I like getting wild sort of variation in the way colors absorb, because I think that makes things really interesting. But there are definitely times that you want a more solid color. And so in addition to using a leveling agent, you could also try, oh, what was it? There's another compound. Oh, I guess it is a salt. I'm totally blanking on what it was, but it was something else that they recommend as a leveling agent that isn't table salt. Sodium something else. Not table salt, sodium chloride, but I'm blanking on what it was. Oh, well, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to help, and I appreciate all you guys hanging out and watching. So in addition to using a leveling agent, if you want a more solid color, use a greater volume of water when you're dyeing. So today we're using like a really low level of water, which means that not only do we have separation between our blue, black, and purple, but we're going to have variation within that yarn as well because of the way the colors strike fast. But if you have more water, then more of the fibers can have better access to the color, and so you'll get a more even color. No, I don't think urea wasn't the leveling agent that I was thinking of. Dharma Trading Company leveling agent. Of course, it didn't say Dharma. Because I put it on like my list. I know my 10 minutes were up, but there's no heat on there, so we're okay. Ammonium sulfate is a leveling agent. So probably also because it will maybe raise the pH a bit, but of course it didn't bring me to that. Where did it say in the instructions? Now I'm curious. I would search on my computer, but then that makes the streams sort of skip. So, you guys are awesome. Yay, I'm glad you're going to try dyeing yarn. That's so awesome. Okay, so they say if you use ammonium sulfate with pre-metallized acid dyes on silk and wool to level those dyes and make them strike more slowly than with vinegar or citric acid. I think because the pre-metallized dyes, which probably has them form some kind of complex, so you've got like more charge, or you have more charge and stuff in there, so they probably bind faster. So, yeah. You think about a tablespoon per pot, but yeek, you guys are awesome. All right, yeah. No, so leveling agents. I also want to get, so I've done tie-dye, and I've got some more tulip tie-dye kit things coming up in some Dye Pop Weekly episodes. But I definitely, one of the things, oh shoot, when does my Dharma sent me like a, come back, here's a coupon, which isn't like a coupon I can share with everyone because it's just like a single-use one. But yeah, I'm like, oh, I think I need to get some fiber reactive dyes because then I can do some wool and cotton dyeing together. And yeah. This video is making your 3.5 inches of twisted rib interesting. Woohoo! Yeah, twisted rib is not always. I love twisted stitches though, so I think twisted rib is ribbing is one of my favorites. But yay, learning to knit, that's awesome. So yeah, all right, I'm going up and checking our yarn. Hee hee. Oof. Okay. So, oh, we still have some blue in there, but in general, it is a lot clearer. There's just like a tiny bit left. Okay, I'm gonna give this a tiny bit more time, and then we'll try to take it out so we can see what things look like. And again, like maybe I would leave it in longer, but I'm having fun chatting, so. Oh, Julia, wait, what link? Which link? Because yes, unfortunately, I think only I and Keith can add things to the chat. Now I want to see, because you sent me it a while ago, but Julia, you've also sent me a lot of really awesome stuff. So now I'm blanking. I'm seeing if I can find it. Wait. Oh. Okay, yeah, I can't find things on my phone for chemnits. Okay, I am going to risk trying to find this because you did send me some really good articles, and hopefully this isn't making things pause too much. But inbox. I'll make some silly faces so that way I can still be entertaining as I'm finding. So I can add some links. Yes, okay, here is the article. Yes, that's better than what I just found on my phone, Julia. Here is the, oh, no, that's not the chat. Here is the, have I tried to dye yarn with ice cream? No. Dairy is something that I sort of am staying away from with my, I'm willing to experiment with a lot, but I won't do chocolate, and I probably will not do dairy. I say probably because I might want to try the Cool Whip marbling thing. So that I might do, but I haven't done ice cream. Yeah, Julia, I found the link. Because yeah, thank you for sparking the memory, because that was one of the really good ones, and that's why I added the ammonium sulfate to my shopping list. So I just couldn't remember. But yeah, dyeing yarn with ice cream is not something that I'm necessarily excited to try, just because I think that it would be pretty interesting. Is Cool Whip dairy? I don't know. Or someone did whipped cream in the group, but now, okay, you guys are asking questions that I really don't have the answers to. What is Cool Whip made out of? Oh, Cool Whip is not dairy. Okay, Cool Whip is made out of hydrogenated vegetable oil, corn syrup. Oh no, there is milk. Corn syrup, skimmed milk, light cream. Okay, fine. There is some dairy in Cool Whip. I read the first couple ingredients, but dairy is a lower ingredient. No, it does say that there's some milk in it. At least that's what Google said. According to the Wikipedia, it's got skimmed milk and light cream. But hey, it's got guar gum in it, which is one of my new favorite things. Oh yeah, of course, this is towards the end of the video, but someone had asked me to sort of talk about the guar gum again. And so I used a 1/4 teaspoon of guar gum in 8 ounces of water. And then I added either the liquid drops or the the icing color to that guar gum mixture to get the thicker color for the stenciling. Yeah, I don't know if shaving cream has anything in it that would sort of harm, like dry out the yarn. That's why I would be more inclined to break my dairy ban than use shaving cream. But I mean, I could also test it out and we could see how the yarn turns out. Oh, I'm sure that there probably is non-dairy Cool Whip out there. So it is dairy, it's just way more processed chemicals, yeah. Oh, the Dharma link didn't work? Okay. So sometimes when I add links to chat, recently there's been an issue that even, at first I thought it was just my website, but if I add a Chemnitz link to the chat, or if I add even a Ravelry link to the chat, sometimes it shows up as page not missing. So try taking, like, copying the URL and maybe searching for that in Google or something versus putting it in the address bar, and maybe that'll help you find it. Which is, of course, really unfortunate that it's doing that again. Yeah, Mitchell, the ammonium sulfate is what we were talking about. But yeah, this was a, so the article is called, Did You Know How to Take It to the Next Level with Acid Dyes Using Ammonium Sulfate? And it's from Dharma Trading Company. I'm sorry that link didn't work, but now I'm curious, did my nitpicks links work? I don't know why this happens with stuff. Ooh, doing a dirty pour like what they do with paint. So I'm not sure it's, I think you would need to add a lot more guar gum because it's, when I say it's thicker, it's not like noticeably thicker. Okay, so for some reason the share sale stuff works, but the other stuff doesn't. So that's weird. But anyway, I'm sorry about that. It's a bummer when I try to share. It was one other live stream where I spent like, I think 15 or 20 minutes, it felt like, trying to get a link to one of my patterns in the chat, and it just was not working. But yes, please let me know when I share a link and it doesn't work, and then I can always add it. I think I can add to the video description while I am hanging out with you guys. So, yay, thank you for checking that for me, everyone. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. Yeah, so, all right, the timer has about 3 minutes on it, so we'll check on this. But overall, like, I think that it's really just the black that was a bit stubborn. But, ooh, I need, I'll get a bowl. So I'll take one of the skeins out so we can try to see what we've got. It's still going to be, you still kind of see that it's fuzzy. Oh, weird. So then I wonder why that's being copied in. Because, interesting, because when I click on the link, it's definitely something with the way that YouTube is redirecting the link. Because when I've clicked on them in the past, I've seen the correct address in the address bar, but it still shows page not shown. So I'm not seeing, when I do it myself and have issues, I'm not seeing the extra percent stuff at the end. Let me see if the Dharma link is working for me. Yeah, so what on earth? Yeah, because see, I don't see all the percent, the stuff. Someone said also, like, oh, if you delete the stuff at the end, but I don't see. Oh, you know what it is? I think it might be a space at the end. So I didn't see that percent stuff at the end, but I did delete just now. I did it, it didn't work, and I deleted one space that was at the end, and that's what did it, that there was an extra space. Huh. So I'll try to take more care, and when I copy something in, making sure there's not a random space at the end. Yeah, I got a square pan. Ooh, I can share that too. There's a link to the pan in the video description, and it is also right here. So I'm curious. Hey, Keith, how long do you think the delay is?
With the audio?
Yeah.
I'm not listening to that.
Oh, you're not listening anymore? Okay, fine.
Never listen.
Oh. Fine, I guess Keith isn't listening in headphones in the other room. He's listening to me live. What? Well, okay, this will get us some, like, reverb or something. Oh, it's my pleasure. But yeah, so far the pan seems to be holding up really nicely. It could have. Okay, the pan link worked. Yeah, so I have, but there's I have no idea what's going on with the other links. But apparently, some of you when you click it, you see some percent symbols, which is it's trying to insert a space at the end. Mine looked invisible because there was an extra space at the end. 15-second delay. Thanks, Derek. Okay. Aha! Okay, there's a tiny bit of blue in there, but for all intents and purposes, oh, actually, I mean, okay, it's warm, but that didn't hurt. Carefully, carefully, carefully. All right, let me get a bowl. Okay, and let's see about. Oh no! Oh no! Okay, it's a little warm for me to try squeezing it out. All right, but here is our yarn. So you can see that we've got, funny, there is still a tiny bit of white in here. But we might have some areas that could read black in here. The black actually has really good absorption because I was able to shimmy that the most. And then in our purple, we definitely have some breaking. But maybe now I can. There we go. Can prettify this. Now, as far as dye lots go, there is definitely going to be some variation between these three skeins, but the hues should be similar. Da, 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 da. Of course, I can't tell how the okay, you can't really see too well, can you? The purple's not reading right. Let me. Yeah, the purple really isn't. It's looking a lot darker than it is, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I promise it's much more of a bright purple in the center. So, yes, the lid is almost as much as the pan. I think that you could use, people use like aluminum pans because you can get some aluminum out of it or something sometimes. But in general, stainless steel shouldn't react with anything, so that's one reason to use it. Yeah, so the lids tend to be, I think, more expensive. Yeah, aluminum can cause reactions. Oh yeah, so I was today I was doing some low immersion dyeing in my new pan and working on some of the kinks, but I think that we got some really cool stuff. I'll hold up some of these other yarns. Yeah, I think that I certainly in my other pans was never ever able to do 3. Okay, that's warmer now. To do 3 at a time. So I think that, you know, in terms of coverage, I was able to do 3, but look at how much I was able to space this out. I think if I were to do 2 and try some of these techniques, we might be able to get better coverage overall. But maybe also, I mean, I started with a really low level of water, so. But woo, it's hot. Yeah, so in the blue, we have some breaking in sections. The black, we might have a black. And then in this purple, we definitely have some broken sections. You could add this one back in. But so in here, okay, so in this black area, I definitely see some of that red maroon feel that you get. But I think that it's really, really pretty. We definitely have some like nice blurple, but there was definitely some of the more magenta feeling here. I used 3 tablespoons of dye total. So that means that each skein of yarn had a tablespoon of, I used 3 teaspoons of yarn, which means that each of the 3 skeins had a total of a whole teaspoon of dye, which normally when I do my broken violet gradient, I use a half teaspoon for the entire skein. So that's why these colors are dark and intense. Oh, Oreo, that's great that you didn't have a reaction to the superwash wool. Yay, that means you can use acid dyes and stuff. That's awesome. I would probably, instead of a lid, I might use tinfoil on top because, I mean, I guess maybe because it's probably not the same as using an aluminum pan. It probably wouldn't cause too much trouble. But I guess I added a total of 3 cups of water as I was adding the dyes. So ultimately, the water level didn't get that low. And so if you keep an eye on it, then it's probably okay. Royal Violet Black. Yes, I used Royal Blue. I used a teaspoon of Royal Blue in a cup of water, a teaspoon of black in a cup of water, and a teaspoon of violet in a cup of water. And I used sort of a spoon to distribute it a little more widely versus just one stripe. And then I flipped the yarn over and I did it again on the other side. But that time I sort of moved things around more to try to get more distribution of the color. So I like this pan because I could get sort of the more distribution of color on there. I could wiggle it more, which if I had things sort of twisted in a pot, if I wiggled it too much, then I wouldn't get, then it would like really mix the colors more. So yeah. You put a big piece of aluminum foil on top. Yeah, that's I think probably a good way to do it. Especially because, I mentioned the pan showed up dented, and I was not thrilled, but I really wanted to use it in the Sock Lake special episode, and so I didn't want, basically I was on the phone with Amazon because I could have returned it and gotten a new one sent to me, but the new one wouldn't have arrived in time, and the defect was only cosmetic. So, and I think it was a packaging issue. It's not as thick as it could be, but I don't think I could bend it with my hand. So I need to use something to try to bend it back. So, and it was functional, so therefore I decided to keep it. But, yay, Royal Blue is one of my favorites. You definitely, if you're dip dyeing and stuff, you can get some purple. And even I think when I did the speckling with a lot of the Wilton colors, with the Royal Blue, actually no, the breaking there was pretty obvious. It was the burgundy that was the least obvious. Have I ever melted a yarn before? I have not yet. It is definitely possible. It is definitely possible to burn it. Melting, haven't done a ton of dyeing of acrylic, like 100% acrylic yarns, and I've had some get a little melty. You can still distinguish all the fibers, so it's not like a turning in, like if you put a chocolate Easter bunny in a pan, it didn't melt like that would melt. But the acrylic yarns, instead of feeling more round, they start to feel a bit flatter. And that can happen even with just steaming versus like having it submerged in a dye pot. So it's definitely something to keep in mind when you're doing an acrylic or an acrylic blend. But I recently did an acrylic blend, 20% wool, 80% acrylic, and I steamed it in the microwave, and there's some spots where you can see the yarn, like the shape is no longer as perfect, but in general it actually still looked really nice. So yes, but burning burning yarn, I mean, if you're microwaving yarn and it gets dry, like it could burn. Just like you can burn popcorn in the microwave if you have it in too long because you run out of the moisture and it just gets too hot and isn't happy. So it's something to be aware of. And like here, if the water level got too low, it could start to burn just like anything else you're cooking on the stove. But a lot of times you have enough water there that it's a concern, but sort of like a low level concern. So if that makes sense. But anyway, I think that, oh wait, you can't even see. Now the colors on me are really off. So like, I guess maybe not as bad. Oh, there, you can see a little bit of the bright red on the inside, but of course it like darkened everything. Let me see if I can. Yeah, my mouse went all sad on me, but yeah, the purples don't always show up on camera very well because there's definitely red on this side and not over here. So, yes, there will be a video on the candy hearts. I think I haven't assigned the Die Pot Weekly number to that video, but I think that probably late April to mid-May is when that one would come out, because since I film things in advance, that one. But the spoilers of it is that and I don't remember exactly how much vinegar I used, but I wound the yarn into a cake and then I inserted, so I did around the very outside of the cake, I did the purple, and then I sort of flipped it over and then did the blue, not in the same spot, but a little more inside, and I just went a little closer on the inside with different colors. But that one, yeah, that video, the Candy Hearts video, I haven't edited it yet, but I might, yeah, that one is something that was a lot of fun. Now all you can think about is ice cream. Yummy. Yeah, I think that this is, see, sometimes if I hold it, it keeps trying to correct the color, and no, my mouse, okay, so my trackpad, you know how you normally can click it? Mine won't click anymore, and so it is causing problems. But yes, if I like quickly, it's like, okay, focus on my face. Ta-da! You can kind of for a second get a hint of the purple. But anyway, I really appreciate all of you joining me tonight for this dyeing adventure. I tried low immersion dyeing in my table steam pan, catering pan, rectangular pan, whatever you want to call it. And I think that the results are lovely. It probably is worth some kind of leveling agent to slow down the color absorption if you want to have a better depth of color. Have I ever dyed with beets or other foods? This week, some avocado dyeing is coming up. And I've done coffee and tea. And so those are the three like foods that I've done so far. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys all joining me tonight. I think that it was a lot of fun, and it was really fun for me to do this impromptu stream. I will probably be back later this week with some kind of announcement as a little teaser. But that will probably be a non-scheduled random one. But yeah, the last thing is one more reminder about the Knit Pick sale. Use the code LUCKYDAY for 15% off, and I'm putting it in the chat, which you'll see before I say this. But yeah, the sale ends tonight at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. So you still have a couple hours in order to get your Knit Picks order in. In the U.S., there's free shipping if you spend $50, and for international, which at least for the UK, Australia, and Canada, there are different levels for free shipping there as well, which are usually higher than what we have to pay in the US, but is still pretty nice. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in. The yarn base I used tonight was straw fingering, but it is currently still on back order until hopefully in a couple days from now. But the Felici fingering weight yarn is the exact same fiber content, fiber mix. It's just milled in Italy versus in Peru. Probably because in Italy is where they probably have the mill do the self-striping yarn that they do in the Felici line. So that's where that yarn base comes from and why it's slightly different because it's spun in different places. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I had a blast, and I know that this pan is going to make an appearance a lot more in the future. I cannot wait to use it and try some speckling with my acid dyes soon. So, but I need to do with acid dye powders. I'd have to like clean everything off a lot more to make sure that everything is safe and whatnot. But yeah, again, thank you for joining me, and stay tuned for a new episode of Dye Pot Weekly tomorrow morning. It is, I can't remember exactly which one it is. I think avocados are on Friday, but tomorrow morning there will be a really fun episode. So I hope that you enjoy it and that everyone has a wonderful evening. Good night, everyone. Bye.